Leo is a great sign, you should know. Really, you're gonna hear a lot of good things about Leo tonight, but there are some weaknesses. There are no good signs and bad signs, but there are some beautiful characteristics that will be found in those that have fire in them. And personally, I'll tell you the truth, I'm envious of some of the qualities that certain fire signs have. Really, they have some great things. I'd love to have their good qualities, but not their bad ones. That's very difficult to have the cake and eat it too, right? So even though many of us are mixed a little bit, the vast majority will definitely have a dominant element, and those who are Leo are going to have the dominant element of fire. And no matter how much of a Leo you are, more or less typical or not, a lot of what you will hear today will be familiar to you. What Leos generally have in common, again, they're a fire element, they're generous. They can be very warm-hearted, creative and enthusiastic, very loving. This is all on the positive. On the dark side of the negative, they can be very bossy and arrogant, interfering in other people's life, very nosy, very dogmatic, and not intolerant. This is just an approximate description, if you could read it, of what Leo is. We're going to get a little bit more in depth in various aspects of his life as an individual, as a husband, or as a wife, children, and Leo the boss. Okay, so let's begin to recognize this individual called the Leo, Mazal Aryeh. This Mazal Aryeh, the Leo, is a very proud individual. And as a result of pride comes arrogance. You will see, hopefully with time, as you become more familiar with astrology, that certain characteristics just go together. As I gave you one example, those who are perfectionists and very organized and clean will tend to be nervous and demanding. Just certain things go together. Those who are lazy may tend to be sloppy, careless. Right? Pride may be good, may not be good, depends, but it leads to arrogance. However, they can be gregarious. Does everybody know what gregarious means? Gregarious, yes? What is it? It's a combination of being friendly and outgoing together. Very much a social type. In other words, even though he's here, he's arrogant, but he needs a crowd. Otherwise, he's going to be arrogant over. Right? Gregarious and with a sunny disposition. That's very good. Some people are very serious, reserved. This man is a happy, social guy. Hates boredom. They have a terrible time with anything that's boring. Prefers bright over dark places in town. 1 o'clock in the morning, go to Manhattan, some very, very loud place, 50% of the clients are Leos. Guaranteed. That's where they are. They like labor-dicky places. Action. People. Never a true introvert. Even though he may pretend to be one, sometimes they keep quiet, but they're not introverts. They're very extroverts. And with age, Leos, some of them tend to mellow, but will always feel dignified and important in their eyes. Now this is important to know. We're not just talking to the Leo. This is important for us to know, to realize who we're dealing with. In his eyes, he may feel important. What good is that for us to know? Well, you have to be careful what you say to him, but you don't step on his toes. People react for different reasons. Now, comparing him to the Aries, his speech is not as fast as Aries or Gemini, but his tone is much more commanding. He's much more in charge. You will always easily notice him in a group. He usually takes the center of the stage with dramatic statements and actions. You know what dramatic means? He moves his hands, makes statements. You can hear him from a mile away sometimes. He may also draw attention to himself by simply being loud. They're very loud. Either laughing out loud, bragging, or just plainly angry. When they're angry, you can hear them angry. Taurus is angry. You may not hear it at all. You may not even know about it. With a Leo, you'll know it. free advice. Now this is very curious about them. More than any other sign, maybe Sagittarius too actually. They love to give free advice. And I'll tell you later why they do that. They will even tell you in a condescending manner how you should manage your life. They'll tell you how they think you should manage your life. This love of teaching others makes many of them educated as politicians and psychiatrists. They're actually better in helping others smooth out the wrinkles in their life than managing their own affairs. Sometimes they can't manage their own affairs, but they know how to give advice to others. And they're always doing that. Always. He has many excellent abilities that are mixed with a vulnerable ego. Even though I'm using a fancy word here, I hope you understand. You know what a vulnerable ego means? This individual has a problem. He has an ego. Remember we said before, he's proud. And being proud sometimes makes you vulnerable because oy vavoy if somebody hurts their ego. So even though they have great abilities, that is one of his weaknesses. He has a vulnerable ego. He can be deeply wounded if you don't respect his wisdom and generosity. How do you subdue a Leo? You flatter him. This man, called a Leo, can be easily flattered. He's actually expecting it. He needs it. He wants it. That's the best way to subdue a Leo. What do I mean by subdue? To get him to be on your side. Yeah? Just flatter him. 9 out of 10 times, the compliments you give him will take away his roar. I use that because it's lion, right? 9 out of 10 times, you flatter, will do it. His vanity is his greatest weakness, and the lack of respect can blind him with rage. These extremes of wanting to be flattered and becoming very upset if he's not respected will make it difficult for him to have a balanced judgment. This is sometimes a problem with them because here they're being flattered, here they're upset. It makes it hard for them to make decisions. Now this is just a suggestion. If he's giving a class or a lecture, or he's giving you a personal speech, his advice, it would be a good idea to tell him, you know what, you have a great sweater. You're looking great. He will blush. And he will actually ask you, really? You really think so? He takes this as a compliment and he likes that. It was just such a simple statement made. And they take it seriously, they like that. Many of them just cannot help feeling superior in some way. And I gave here an example of a story of a Leo teacher who was very smart. That he would sometimes run around in the class waving his arms. I'm surrounded by idiots. What's going on here? This was a smart guy. But when he got upset, he roared, very loud, waved his arms like he's dramatic. And he of course looked down at everybody. Everybody's idiots. Typical, this is a Leo. And this is not to say that somebody else will not react similarly, but he's the loudest of them all. Leo gets things done better than Aries. Remember, those of you who were here for Aries, a lot of initiative, a lot of drive. They begin to do a lot of things, but they don't finish what they begin. Leo is much better. He's better organized. And his commands, when he's talking to people, if he's the boss, his commands are more effective. The reason why he's more effective with his commands is because he goes straight to the point. He's brief. He's not as dreamy. He doesn't have these grand plans. He's just straightforward. Even though in giving instructions he can use a lot of drama and theatrics. He's dramatic, but he will go straight to the point and get things done. So this way, in this respect, he's better than Aries. He knows how to give extravagant compliments all the time. He's great at compliments, just like he loves compliments, he also gives it.